Hi, it's B and welcome back to my channel. Alright, so if you're new to my channel, I'm all over the place, right? I said this in the beginning, that one day I'll show you what I'm eating, the next day I'll talk about some truth or whatever. But the point is that I feel we are living in a beautiful world that Creator made for us, and we're surrounded by dark energy. Okay, the world is not dark. The world wasn't created dark. The people in it are making it dark. So I'm here to spread love, light, truth. That's what I do. I like to promote organic, all natural, gluten-free, dairy-free, sugar-free food because I've had a lot of issues with my health, and I've been healing myself for the last 3 years. So that's why I show my food. That's why I show what I eat. And I like to seek truth. I am an Ophiuchus, which is the 13th sign, which they don't talk about because, there's only 12 signs in the zodiac. That's a whole nother video. But if you want to look it up, go for it. It's Ophiuchus, the 13th sign. It's a star constellation, blah, blah, blah. But really, it's the serpent barrier who's the healer, okay? So that's another truth bomb. That's who I am. It's pretty much a Sagittarius and a Scorpio put together. Again, a whole nother video. But anyway, today I want to talk about this book that I started to read, The Red Road of Wellbury. This is like a Native American book, pretty much. And I came across it because I was doing some volunteer work and I was going to be a recovery coach. Whole nother story. Anyway, so I've been reading this and I want to read some of this to you. So there's some truth, because in one of my videos when I was ranting about Native Americans and how they killed all my people and gave us alcohol and made us sign papers, I got it from this book, and this is written from elders. It wasn't just, oh, I just made it up. No, this is fact. You can go buy the book and you can read it yourself, but I'll just read a little bit to you. Where should I start? I don't even know where I want to start. Let's just start about where it is. All right, we'll jump around. That's what we'll do. We'll jump around. This is a great book. I recommend it. Sorry, I'm losing my place here. A long time ago, the elders told us that new people, the light skins, would bring forth mind changers to the land. These mind changers would place us in a time of being tested as native people. The elders told us that the mind changer would have the power to control our thoughts and take over our minds. They would have the power to make us leave our traditional ways. They told us that each of these mind changers had the power to destroy entire tribes. Each had the power to make us turn against one another. They could destroy our families. They said the mind changer had the power to take away all the knowledge we had about ceremonies, raising families, songs, dance, and all we knew about Mother Earth and her inhabitants, the two-legged, the four-legged, the winged ones, and the knowledge we had about getting along with each other. They told us the mind changers would take away our knowledge and how to treat women and to treat men, the knowledge about the cycle of life and the sacred teaching we gave to our children so they could pass it on to their children, the knowledge about how we were to develop ourselves, to build our character, and to ask the Creator to guide our lives and to live in harmony with the earth. All this knowledge was ours at one time, and the light-skinned introduced us to the mind changer. We were told to avoid the mind changer if we wrestled with them, we would go through a period of being tested. If we failed the test, our people could disappear, our families would crumble, and our world as we once knew it would disappear. They told us the names of the 4 mind changers, and one would be liquid, and one would be the black book, and one would be a song, and one would be a chart. This is The Red Road to Wellbury. You are reading will deal with the first mind changer, the liquid. The liquid has many names. It is called alcohol, and in some places it is called spirits. The elders say if we drink the spirit, we would be tested, and it would change the minds of many of us. All right, let's skip over here. When we're introduced to the mind changer, alcohol, for the very beginning, when alcohol was introduced to Indians, there was a noticeable change as soon as it was consumed. It was so powerful that the elders called it spirit. They could only see a bottle of liquid, but the elders said what that liquid was a spirit. The spirit had the power to change our mind, to make us say things and do things that were shocking. Even the settlers knew about its power. They had us drink it before we traded furs and before we signed papers to give our land away. They knew it changed our mind and made us foolish. This is where I got that from. This is written by elders Native Americans. Why do I care? Because I'm Native American. And literally, alcoholism destroyed and killed my family. Like, literally, my family, my mother, my aunt, my uncles. That's why I care. That's why I'm sharing this truth. Let's tell the truth. It's gonna come out. I mean, you can buy the book. Read it yourself. You don't have to believe anything I'm saying. I'm just reading you a book. We have struggled with the spirit ever since. Each generation has tried to pass this test, and each generation has failed. Each generation has suffered the results of the mind changer, just as the old people said might happen a long time ago. But we do have the power to overcome the mind changer. One way is just not drink it. If you never drink it, you won't have to enter the testing time. And another reason I care is because I am a recovering alcoholic. Okay, I have 3 years clean. I was a heavy alcoholic, very heavy. So was my mother. So were my uncles. So was my aunt. It runs in my blood. I am Native American. My grandmother, my great-grandmother. Like, every time I went to go see my Nana, she was drunk. And that's the only reason that we even know the truth about my family of being Native, because the rest of my family, besides my Nana, were lying and saying that we weren't Native because, I'll read it in here, we were ashamed. They were ashamed to say that they were Native American. They just went around saying they were black. Their skin was yellow, lighter than mine. I'm one of the darkest in my family, and I am very light-skinned. And they were telling my father, who was white, that they were black. And my dad was like, no, you're definitely not. So he started talking to my Nana while she was drunk and got the real information that they're Native American. Yeah. So, a little backstory on that. So this is why I care. This is why I'm passionate. This is why I'm reading this. Because, I am in recovery. I've read, NA books. I've read AA books. And now I'm reading this because I find it very interesting. So, let's see. So I'm not just pulling information out of nowhere. I mean, I care because this is my family, and it destroyed my family. It killed my family. And it could have killed me if I kept going. It was killing me. Like, you know how many times I've hit rock bottom? A lot. And you know who pulled me out? Me and my higher power, my creator, my God. And that's why I go back to this. I didn't even know about this book, whatsoever. I had no idea, and I just started reading it, and it's amazing. I love it. It's great. I recommend it. I don't know how many times I can say that. All right. The old people tell us that the frame of reference. Okay. Hold on. I am going to jump around, but if you don't like it, you don't even have to watch, but I'm just sharing some truth with you guys that I found, so you can either bear with me or you can just turn it off. Either way, I'm going to make my video. All right, so the old people tell us that the frame of reference of our thinking is the Mother Earth and the universe. When the Creator finished creating the earth, He left all things to function by a set of principles, laws, and values. The Creator said all creatures, plants and four-legged and two-legged and two-spirited, the winged ones, all form of life will abide by the law, sometimes called the natural laws. If we live in harmony with these laws, we will know harmony, balance, and peace. If we live out of harmony, we will know chaos. Long ago, our communities were very knowledgeable about how to live in harmony. We pass this information from generation to generation through our clans, societies, song, dance, ceremonies, elders, and our teachings. When we stopped passing it on, we started to forget. Today, many of us are researching for this knowledge. When each of us finds it again, we will find the door to the Creator and spirituality. It is then we stop drinking and drugging and we get back on the red road. Today, we call this knowledge our teachings. And it goes on and talks about, the medicine wheel. And it's that, let me just pause for a minute. Okay. So when I became born again Christian, right, and I got baptized, I believe in God. Yes, I do. I read the Bible. I believe in Jesus. I believe in that. I talked about that in another video. However, I had somebody who was born again, diehard in the last 17 years, born again Christian, try to tell me that a dream catcher, she didn't even want to look at a dream catcher in the window. She's saying this to me, who's in my family. Not even considering it would be offensive to me because of my mother and my family whatsoever, saying, it was evil and this and that. Like, just crazy. But you're not supposed to judge anyone. That's why I stopped going to church, because the people, look. Anyway, I'm going to get back to this. I'm a mixed person, okay? If I want to read the Bible and read this, and I want to believe this, and if I want to go sit in a sweat lodge and do whatever, I could do that. That's the thing. People are like, oh, you're not this, you're not that. I am who I am. And I can practice this, and this because I'm a mixed person, okay? I can do whatever. And even if you're not mixed, you could do whatever you want. Who is to say this is right, this is that, this is this, this is this? I'm not hurting anybody at the end of the day. Like, I'm really not. Like, I'm not. Like, I just thought that was just so, don't judge anyone, love your neighbor, but then say, that's so offensive. I can't look in that window because there's a dream catcher and da-da. To me. So that's not rude to me? Like, what? And your family? Okay. You just insulted my whole mother's side of my family. Like, sometimes you gotta distance yourself from people. Stick up for yourself. Talk, you know what I mean? Like, don't let people put you down. Don't let people try to tell you that your other half of your family is this and that and whatever. No. But you go around claiming that you're a born again Christian and you're so holier than holy and everyone's going to hell. But you're not for saying that, for judging Native Americans for their dream catchers and their medicine. Well, this isn't devil worship. What do you mean? We teach our children how to be a family, how to respect the world and respect the land and our animals. We're not just out there just killing and butchering. And look, I'm going to just leave that there. Okay. And then wonder why I don't want to talk to you. Okay. All right. The hurt of our past is the hurt of our present. Alcoholism. Indian people can benefit from many of the alcohol and other books recovering programs that are out there today. The Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous and AA contains a great deal of information about what alcoholism is all about, what alcohol does to us as human beings, and then how to behave in return. But there are some reasons for alcoholism in Indian countries that are different than in the wider society, and it will be good to think a little about our own history. So, our indigenous people, I definitely said that wrong, of Turtle Island, North America, were not people who used alcohol for ceremonial or social purposes before Europeans arrived in the Caribbean in 1492. Other indigenous people, I'm so saying that wrong, in other parts of the world may have used alcohol in their traditional past, but our people in this part of the world did not. The Europeans who came to our land had been using alcohol in their societies for thousands of years. Today, when archaeologists digs reveal artifacts from sites in the Near East, the birthplace of European civilizations, they also always discovered wine cups and other evidence of alcohol consumption. Europeans had become used to drinking alcohol by the time they arrived at our shores. But the indigenous people of Turtle Island had no natural physical defense or mental understanding of alcohol. Words from our people. Our elders and leaders struggled with what they saw happening to their people as a result of alcohol consumption long before the United States became a nation. In 1722, Mohegan Chief Putnam, I'm sorry, I can't pronounce this, in what is known as the Hudson Valley of New York, spoke to the European leaders in his region in an attempt to stem the flow of alcohol to his people. He said, "When our people come from hunting to the town or plantations and acquaint the traders and people that we want powder and shot and clothing, they first gave us a large cup of rum, and after we get the taste of it, crave for more, so that all the beaver and plenty we have hunted goes for drink, and we are left destitute either of clothing or ammunition. Therefore, we desire our Father to order the tap to be shut and to prohibit selling of rum. For as long as the Christians will sell rum, our people will drink it." I mean, do I even need to read anymore? And there's a bunch of other elders who wrote things like that. Like, there's another quote. "Whiskey is a great and monstrous evil and has reared a high mount of bones. You lose your minds, and whiskey causes it all. So now all must say, I will use it nevermore." Did you catch the dates on this? We're in 2022. All right, let's talk about, because then the video I talked about the kids, right? And how they took them, made them go to school, cut their hair, couldn't speak our language, right? Boarding schools and residential schools. Starting in 1860, Indian boarding schools were set up to educate us in similar ways to those of Europeans, with the goal that we would forget our culture and become assimilated into Euro-American society. Our children were often forcibly taken away from their families and homes and made to live far away from their parents and loved ones. They were made to cut their hair short and were punished if they spoke Indian language. One of the most famous residential schools was the Curacao, I'm probably saying this wrong, Indian School in Curacao, Pennsylvania, established by Henry Pratt in 1879. The motto of Curacao's, I'm sorry if I'm butchering his name, really not, was "Kill the Indians and save the man." As the 20th century began, the government set up many other boarding schools around the country. One of the mottos for the government boarding school was, "Tradition is the enemy of progress," and that's in quotes. What? Can the truth come out? I mean, can it? Like, really? I think it's about time. I really do. Indian people were not opposed to European education in the period when the boarding schools were established. We saw that wondrous education opened up in the world and hoped that they would be made available to our people. The great chief Sitting Bull recognized the value of education when, in 1883, he spoke to the youth of this day. "In the future, our business dealing with the whites are going to be very hard, and it behooves you to learn well what you are taught," he said. "But that is not all. We older people need you. In our dealings with the white men, we are just the same as blind men, because we do not understand them. We need you to help us understand what the white men are up to. My grandchildren, be good. Try and make a mark for yourself. Learn all you can." Many of our great-grandparents would have welcomed learning the new way if they could have also kept their culture and religion. But culture oppressed and education were inseparable in the days of the boarding school. Did you know that Thanksgiving is just a mock? Like, it's just a complete mockery. That's not what happened. We didn't sit down and break bread with them like that. Maybe after we were drunk. It wasn't as peaceful and kumbaya as they say it is. Like, let's be serious. Please. Please. I'm so tired of the lies. Please share this video. 20 minutes in, right? Like, I'm getting it straight from the American elder's mouth. Like, I'm not just pulling it out of the air. They forced boarding schools. The forced boarding schools is now a thing of the past, but the harmful effects of the boarding school from 1860 into early 1970s have been handed down through the family. If a grandpa or grandma had a bad experience at boarding school, it was probably handed down all the way to the children of today. Yeah. We now know that many of the causes for alcoholism for Indian people today had their beginnings in the boarding school experience of our people. What are some of the boarding school experiences? How have those experiences handed down from generation to generation impacted ourselves or even our parents who never went to boarding schools? What is their connection to the Indian alcoholism? And then it goes on. Oh, wait, let me read this. And Carlos says, I can't even say his name. Indian school is an example. It was run in a military fashion. Students were marched from their quarters to breakfast, then marched to lunch, and then marched to supper. They're a little like Hitler here, huh? They received a little affection from the staff at school. They longed for the affection that a parent would have given them when they were of an age, when affection is so important. They were told many times that their people's ways were evil and that their people would die out. Imagine being a child and hearing that. Like, they were not allowed to speak their native language or conduct ceremonies such as smudging. Our religion was disrespected and its practice was prohibited. In 1890, as the boarding school era was getting into full swing, Sitting Bull observed how Euro-American societies disliked our religious beliefs in ways when he said, "You should say nothing against our religion, for we said nothing against yours. You pray to God, so do all of our Indians, as well as the whites. We both pray to only one God who made us all. But our leaders and elders were powerless to protect the younger people during those earlier days of educational trauma." And this still goes on today. Like I said, that family member. Literally, we were eating, looked in the window, saw a dream catcher, and was saying that it was bad. And she didn't even want to look. She was so offended. She didn't want to look. Born again Christian. You're judging. Who are you? And I'm not saying everybody. I'm talking about this one person that I was having lunch with that has been born again Christian for 17 years. This is why I stopped going to church, okay? It's not that I don't believe in God. It's not that I don't believe in Jesus. No, I just don't. No, because I'm not looking at you and saying, oh, you shouldn't. No, it's hypocritical to me. If you're supposed to love your neighbor, then love your neighbor. Why are you saying that if that's not what you believe? Why are you sitting there saying that, oh, we're going to go to hell if you believe this and you're going to go to hell if you believe that? You know, you can believe whatever you want. Just don't talk to me that way. Like, I swear it was just to see if I was going to react in some kind of way. And I didn't. I was just like, oh, you know, like, but deep down inside, I was like, yo, my mom would slap it out of you right now if she heard that. And then she wants to say, oh, I loved your mother. I was like, oh, me and your mom were so cool. Oh, yeah, okay. Sure. What happened in boarding schools? Shame and shaming behavior on the part of the staff was one of the most hurtful kinds of emotional abuse experienced by Indian people in the historical boarding schools. Shame is the feeling that comes from being disgraced, embarrassed, dishonored, and humiliated. Shame was encountered on many levels. We were shamed for being Native people. We felt shamed for being sexually abused, either directly from boarding schools or by relatives affected by boarding schools. We were shamed by being verbally abused and physically abused. As a result, rage and anger unexpressed rage and anger, unexpressed toward the boarding school staff, fell on the children of boarding school survivors. We also hold anger and rage from having our families killed, tortured, cheated, and pushed out of their spacious homeland to small tracts of land, or to none at all. Rage and anger continues to be characteristics of the children of the survivors, and lateral violence in our families continues to this day as a result of the original abuse. Lateral violence refers to violence we do to one another in contrast to violent acts against non-native societies. I'm telling you, this book is a must read. It definitely is a must read. And it goes on, and there's steps, just like the AA book, and it talks about, community, getting back to creator and getting back, to nature, and it's just sad. It's sad. When I was younger, my father actually took me to powwows, and he's the one who did my family tree. Like I told you, like my mom, my mom's family was, trying to tell him that they were black and like denied that we were Native American because we were ashamed. They were said, if you said that you were Native American, and put a target on your head. That's what it did. It was, and before it was the same thing. Blacks were slaves, so it's like, can you imagine that being Indian was worse? Like it was worse than being black, and blacks were slaves. Like they would rather just say that they were black, and like they were just so light skinned, it was really obvious. Like my family has like the most beautiful hair ever, very light skin. Like I said, I'm one of the darkest in my family, and you can see that I'm not dark. So yeah, ashamed. Like I think I don't know if it was one of my grandmothers or one of my uncles even said to my dad, like, why are you asking these questions? Like, stop. Like, you're gonna whatever. Like they didn't want him to know. They didn't want to talk about it. Like my mom didn't even know she was Native American, and if she did, she said that she didn't because it was bad. Like you couldn't be out. Like you couldn't be in the street. You couldn't do this. You couldn't. Like it was worse to be Native American than black. And I just think that the truth needs to come out. And I wanted to just read some of that book, because it's not even just about that I'm in recovery and I wanted to read something new, and to get back to basics. Like, just like, in AA, it's like finding a higher power. This is more like going back to creator, so which is higher power. Like I say God, but it's also Great Spirit. I'm also Native American. Like I said, I used to go to powwows, and I loved it. It was beautiful. And I think that's what we need to do, like for me anyway. Like I need to, I like to ground. I go outside. I'm very into nature. I talk to the flowers. I talk to the bees. I talk to the birds, and I don't, I got judged by people in the Christian church for doing that. Born in Christian. Another reason why I stopped going to church, because, someone had commented, and I didn't even say I was a tree hugger, which I totally am, but someone's like, oh, how do you love the trees? My question is, how do you say you love God so much, and how do you, praise all that, whatever to God and Jesus, but you have no respect for what else God created here? We came after the trees and the plants and the sun and the stars and the moon. So for me, it's disrespectful to not show respect to the trees and to the animals and to the flowers. But that's just me. You don't have to believe what I believe. I'm not trying to force anything on you. I wanted to clear up about why I don't go to church anymore, and it has nothing to do with me not believing in God or creator. I love God creator, but I also love everything that creator has put here for us, everything that God has put here for us. This is not our land. Even Native Americans, the trees and all that, they were here before we were. So to me, it's a no-brainer that I would give respect to the trees and to everything. How do you think we get our oxygen, into the elements? A lot of born again are like, oh, elements, it's all witchcraft and it's voodoo and it's that. What do you mean? Do you realize we wouldn't be alive if there wasn't wind for us to breathe and the air to produce oxygen? We wouldn't be here. If the bees weren't pollinating, we wouldn't be here. So yeah, I'm gonna hug a tree. I'm gonna tell the flowers I love them and they're beautiful. I'm gonna do that, and I have every right to do that. If you don't like it, that's cool. That's probably why I don't have any friends and I don't talk to any of my family, because nobody gets it. But that's okay. I don't mind being alone. That's fine. As long as I know I'm being true to who I am and what I believe, and I'm protecting my peace, it doesn't matter. I'd rather be alone all day, every day, in my own little bubble. I don't even have a circle. There's no circle. There's just me, and that's fine. You know why? Because I'd rather be alone than be around a bunch of fake people who are gonna, oh yeah, act like they're all cool, and then turn around and talk whatever behind your back and stab you in the back at the end of the day. No. I don't have time for that, like, whatsoever. I know that my Creator, my God, sees me for who I am, and I can read the Bible and I can say, okay, I know this was taken out, or I could say this was taken out, and I could be fine with that, and I could go do my own research. Like, for instance, the Bible and I read the Bible, right? But I mean, I take what I need and I leave the rest, or whatever. Or I know that I read research, like I said, about other stuff that was taken out. But for me, it's like, they only talk about like a year or so of his life, of Jesus's life. Like, he was trained in mystery schools. He was a healer. Yes, he's God's child, so yeah, he's gifted, okay? But he was trained in mystery schools. And, like, you don't have to believe that. It's just going to throw a lot of people off. But trust me, I have someone in my family who's done lots of research on past things, okay? Just as much as people would say, oh, I did research and the Bible says, and the Bible this and that. Okay, but what about the rest of his life? Okay, he went around with his uncle as a carpenter, right? But do you know that he actually was in mystery schools, a bunch of different mystery schools, learning how to do this stuff? And so was Mary Magdalene. She wasn't a prostitute. She was right with Jesus, because she knew just as much as he did, because she was taught in the same schools as him. That's why that's why she was right next to him, because she was one of the best out of all the other ones that could do exactly what he did, because she trained in the same schools, and then they taught the other ones. Like, you don't have to believe me. Why don't you go look up on YouTube the real teachings of Jesus? How did he learn? You know, where are these missing years? You know, like, there's so much left out. You know, that's why I'm not labeled. You know, like, when I got baptized, okay, yeah, I was a born-again Christian, but right now I'm not labeled. I have no label. I am just me. I believe in the Creator. I believe in God. I believe in the universe. I believe in a higher power. Whatever you want to call it, I believe that there is something way bigger than us. Call it God, call it Great Spirit, call it the mystery, call it whatever. I believe in the universe. I believe in the laws of nature. I believe in the elements. I believe in the directions. I believe what I believe in. You know, and I don't feel like I should be judged on what I believe in. At the end of the day, I'm not hurting anybody, and I'm not hurting myself, and that all that matters. Like, seriously, like, you can judge me all you want. And another thing I don't understand is why people are so mad about me deciding to stop drinking or doing drugs and changing my life around. You would think people in my family would be happy for me. You would think, you know, other people would be like, oh wow, she finally got her, you know, stuff together. But no, it just put a big target on my back to just be hated even more. Why? Because you didn't think I would get to where I'm at? Okay, well, that's your fault. That's on you. No one told you to judge me. No one told you to say I wasn't going to amount to anything. No one told you to say that. So you're mad at me because I took it upon myself to look in the mirror and get honest and real with myself and change my life around. So you're mad at that. Like, how does that even make sense? Everyone's out here talking all this crap, you know, saying this and saying that, but for why? Because she's not drinking and doing drugs anymore? Oh, I'm sorry. Was I supposed to just stay forever drinking and doing drugs? Like, was I supposed to just... What does that say about you? I'm just saying, like, no one can say anything that I've done in the last 3 years that has been so terrible, you know, or whatever. Like, really, you need to look at yourself in the mirror and ask yourself why you're so mad. Why are you so mad about somebody making the choice to better their life when you could do it too? I didn't do anything that no one else has done. Recovery's been around for forever, okay? Like, people have 20, this and this years clean. I have 3. Okay, like, I'm not out bragging about it. All I did was get honest with myself. And once you know, you can't act like you don't know, period. Just like this book, you're reading this, like, once you know, like, you can't act like you don't know. When is the truth going to come out? When is it going to come out that we've been lied to our whole lives? Like, when is it going to come out? When are we actually going to get real freedom? Like, there's no freedom. We're not free. Are you serious? Anyway. This is a 34-minute video. So I hope you like my video. I really recommend the book. Like I said, I recommend AA books, NA books. I've been reading them all I've been in and out of recovery for a long time, okay? Like way longer than 3 years. That's just my clean time. But anyway, if you like my videos, please like, share, and subscribe. I send you love. I send you light. I hope this world one day will be full of love and light and peace and truth and wisdom. And we really get back to basics and we grow our own food, which is what we should be doing. We should be loving ourselves and loving our children, our elderly, not putting them in homes and getting them pumped up with all kinds of drugs and whatever. Look, it's a whole nother video. We're not even gonna go there today. All right, like, share, and subscribe. Thank you.